Good evening, everyone. This is Chantay. I'm here with my analysis today on Monday, August 3rd, 2020. Not going to be long before you today, but I'm just going to cover some grounds. Of course, I always cover COVID-19 first because that is always the top scenario of our day. And of course, I always write down an agenda for myself to keep on task and keep on schedule. So here we are. So in terms of the cases of COVID-19 globally, we sit at 18,193,291. So that is on the globe with 188 countries. Here at home in the U.S., we account for a fourth of those cases. We are at 4,700,012,724 cases of COVID. So once again, we are at 4.7. We're over 4.7 million cases, almost at 5 million. Keep in mind, we have reached 4 million cases as of last week, I believe. Yeah, as of last week. So this week is almost 5 million, and it's not even a month yet. In terms of other countries with high case numbers, behind the United States, it's Brazil at 2,733,677, followed by India at 1,803,695. Russia has 854,641. They're almost close to 1 million cases. They'll be the fourth country to hit 1 million cases of COVID. South Africa is at 516,862. Keep in mind, they've reached the 500,000 level as of yesterday. So this is devastating. And on the continent, they have the highest cases of COVID-19. Mexico has 443,813. Mexico is the south of the United States in North America, and they're almost at 500,000. They're not even, I can say they're eighth of our cases, but still, that's a lot in Mexico. Peru has 428,850. Don't know what's going on in South America, but this is bad. And even with Chile, which is also another country in South America, is at 361,493. Colombia, which has now topped the countries with the highest cases. I can say the top 10 with the highest cases on the globe, is now at 317,651. A couple of days ago, they was at 288,000. Now they have surpassed the UK. And the UK rounds it out with 307,251 cases of COVID-19. Now in our Latin countries, we have Ecuador at 87,041. Dominican Republic, I don't know what's going on in DR, but if someone can tell me what's going on, this sounds very bad. 73,117. Followed by Panama, 68,456. Guatemala, 542. Honduras, 43,197. El Salvador, 17,843. Africa nations. Nigeria, which now I think tops the second, I believe, of highest cases on the continent in South Africa, which is in West Africa, is 44,129, followed by Ghana at 37,812. Kenya has 22,597. Cameroon has 17,255. The Congo, which is in Kinshasa, I think I can't pronounce that, is 9,133, but they're actually lower than Senegal. Senegal has 10,386, and Gambia has 498. Gambia has one of the lowest cases in the continent of Africa. In the West Indies, we have Haiti at 7,476, followed by Jamaica, which has reached over the 900,000, the 900, threshold at 905. They almost at 1,000 cases. I thought Jamaica was doing fine. I don't know what's going on unless they open the country. If someone can tell me what's going on in Jamaica, that would be great. The Bahamas is at 679 cases. Guyana has 474. Trinidad and Tobago went up some cases. They were in the 150s. They reached the one almost near the 200 threshold at 182. Barbados have 132. Antigua has 91. St. Vincent has 55. Belize have 57. St. Lucia at 25, Grenada at 24, while Dominica still remains at 18, and St. Kitts remain at 17. And so these numbers I have is on the Johns Hopkins website. So that is that right there. Now to the states. These numbers here come from the New York Times COVID map. You can subscribe to the New York Times COVID map. California has 522,192. I believe over the weekend, California has reached the over the 500,000 cases in the country. They thought New York was going to reach those cases. No, California beat us to the punch here because I live in New York. Florida, which now tops the second state with the highest cases in the U.S., has 491,876. Texas has 460,484, followed by New York, which New York was the epicenter of COVID-19, especially New York City, and the borough that was the total epicenter of all of it was Queens. Now has 421,550. We top the fourth largest cases in the state. Illinois is 185,238. They have surpassed New Jersey. I did say Illinois was going to surpass New Jersey. New Jersey is now at 184,489. They're not too shy away from Illinois, but Illinois is on a faster trajectory than New Jersey. Georgia is not too shies away from New Jersey. They are 179,510. My prediction is they might surpass New Jersey too. Who knows? Arizona, same. 179,506. So they're definitely, Georgia and Arizona may surpass New Jersey in a couple of days, maybe in a day or two. I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. North Carolina, 126,806 cases. Louisiana, 120,960. And I put South Carolina on here because this is my mom's home state, is at 92,951, which their cases is not as high as all these other states I've mentioned, but they're having a really serious hospital issue. And yeah, that being said, Los Angeles. Now I'm back to the St. Johns Hopkins website, which I got 6 of the top 50 counties in the U.S. with the highest COVID cases. Los Angeles has now been the county with the top most cases. They are at 192,177. Keep in mind, New York is a city. New York City has 230,698. As the city flattens their curve, we see other counties like Los Angeles, which is a city, has now almost at the level of New York City. I won't be surprised if they surpass New York City's total amount of COVID cases. Miami-Dade County, which is now the second state, has 120,690, followed by Maricopa, 120,279. Cook County, which is in Chicago, 106,713. Cook County used to have the second highest cases of COVID-19 cases. Harris County, which is in Houston, has 76,639. And Queens, New York, which Queens was the epicenter of all of this madness, due to the large amount of airports where people was coming in, which they had to rush back because the country was under a national emergency from the national emergency in the White House. So is that 67,421. So my assumption is that some of these places like Georgia and Arizona is going to surpass New Jersey with the amount of cases. California has surpassed New York State with the amount of cases, which are the largest cases. The chunk. California is double the size of New York City. New York State, excuse me. New York State has 19 million people, which the city of New York makes it much larger than life of the chunk of the state. But California has 40 million people. New York has 19 million people. And Los Angeles is also a big city too, which Los Angeles has 192, Los Angeles has more people. And Los Angeles may reach the amount of cases that New York City, the whole entire city, will have. So there you go. And like I always say, we never have no national testing. But the national emergency in the White House, which is the New York scam artist, which is the Queen Sewer Rat, had a press briefing today, holding his own coronavirus press briefing. Keep in mind, nobody really from his administration was there. He's saying things off the cuff and saying things that is factually not true. So here we go. He claims they're working on, he talked about the coastal flooding and all this stuff, because we do have another coastal flooding, which is the effects of the hurricane that's in Florida. Because every time when Florida gets something, it travels north. It travels through the south, the upper south, such as the Carolinas and, and Virginia. Then it goes to Maryland, D.C. Then it hits the mid-Atlantic states like Delaware. And then it gets to the northeast, such as Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York. So I won't be shocked. And he said we have to follow the guidelines like our state told us. And then he keeps referring to the coronavirus as the Chinese virus. He said they're making significant progress across the country, saying that the positive test rate has dropped from 8.7 to 8%. I don't believe those statistics. He's saying that the virus is receding. He said the weekly cases in Arizona has dropped by 37%, which I read the numbers of Arizona to you. They are hitting the, let's see these numbers again for Arizona. Arizona is at 179,000 cases. So they have moved up a case. So we all know it's bullshit. He said Governor Ducey is doing a tremendous job. We all know that's a lie. He's trying to appease his base once again. He said Texas cases that went down by 18% and Florida cases that went down by 22%. He said it's a tremendous job that all the governors are doing, which I just read that Florida is almost close to 500,000 cases. They're at over 491,000, while Texas is at over 460,000. So how's that doing a good job? I have no idea. The ICU beds are almost filled up in Texas and Florida. They're almost at 100% capacity, even through the ICU, that's not doing a good job. He also went to the beginning of the virus. They're containing the virus and focusing on states with flare-ups such as Georgia, which Georgia is a flare-up. Missouri and Oklahoma is the area, but they have it under control. We all know that's a lie. He also said permanent knockdowns are not viable paths to producing results you want, which a national lockdown will actually be better to start the reset button. Foreign countries, the virus is spreading lockdowns, but don't prevent the infections in the future. And he said it will come back. It will come back in waves, but you'll do a national lockdown will be better. And he said his administration has took priorities in doing this stuff. We all know it's crappy. He's touting these therapeutics will end this stuff. And he said countries in particular, I don't know what he said about state. Oh, yeah. And then so he said something about states such as Australia and China and Japan and France. So I'm going to read these numbers to you from these countries. China has much of a bigger population than the United States. The United States are 325 billion people, I think. China has much of a bigger population. Not sure the numbers, but China has 88,098 cases of COVID-19. Japan, 40,073. Spain used to have the highest cases of COVID. They're not even in the top. They have 297,054. Germany has 212,011. And Australia only has 18,000, almost 19,000 cases of COVID. So what the hell is Trump talking about? I have no idea. Talking about the United States are doing great. We have almost 5 million cases of COVID and over we have 155,000 over 155,000 people dead and counting. And we're in August. And we've been in this thing honestly since he declared a national emergency, but even before that we was in this since late January. We just started quarantine in March. And some of us are still quarantined because people are not safe. People don't feel safe to go back to work because they're not sure if they're going to have the right PPE given to them. There's people that still can't get PPE. So this is not good. He was asked during the press briefings about, Nancy Pelosi basically criticizing Dr. Birx. He said Nancy Pelosi treated Dr. Birx nasty. With all due respect to Dr. Birx, I appreciate what she did during the AIDS epidemic back in the 80s when I was a baby. But she let the POTUS, and I don't call him that. I'll just say POTUS, or the rat sewage crap Yola in that office to tell the American people to inject disinfectants in your body to cure COVID-19 instead of practicing social distancing. And they said it was a joke on a Sunday show days after that. Yeah. What an ass. What a fool. So Nancy Pelosi was right to criticize her and this whole entire administration for their lack of handling this virus. And there were negotiations about, there was asked about the negotiations about the relief bills, and then he says, I don't want to see people being evicted. He said in case there's too big, these shelters they're going to go to big shelters. They're thrown out viciously, and it's not their fault. It's because of China. Yeah, okay. And he said, we're having a great discussion with Nancy and Chuck. The problem is they want to fund, they want to bail out various Democratic cities. He's always making this a partisan argument. And he said run by states and cities, they have a lot of money. They want a lot of money, and they want to do more than COVID related. They want to bail out cities and states, and that's been in trouble for years, and it's bad management, and I don't think it's fair. States are asking for money. All states, both Republican and Democratic states, are asking for state relief because they need to pay their public servants. That includes firefighters, police officers, teachers, people that work in public hospitals, and other city agencies that keep cities and states moving. They're basically essential workers. The same money that funds schools, those same teachers that you want to go back to work, need to get paid. I got a couple of friends that work in the public school sector. Not just only teachers, but guidance counselors, principals. So once again, what is Donald Trump talking about? What is he talking about? Because obviously he makes no damn sense when he says the crap that he says out of his mouth. Teachers need to get paid. States need money. Hey, Tasha. States need relief, and not just to fund and to get paid, but just to keep the states moving. When you solve the public health problem, then the economy will bounce back. But not bounce back to the old economy, but build back better. So once again, I ask myself, and I'm pretty sure you can ask yourself, what the hell is Donald Trump talking about? That's like with the mail-in ballots. He said it's a total disaster, it's fraud. And then criticized the congresswoman, the district that I live in, when she won that fair and square. Because there's people around here that actually like her. And she fought for LGBT rights, something that Donald Trump tried to take away from the LGBTQ community. But that's just me talking. It's just me. Yeah. But getting to the actual truth of things, my governor had a briefing today, Governor Andrew Martin Cuomo. And he acknowledged that we have been 156 days in this mess. And he said the hospitalizations for the state of New York is down by 536 people, which is a new low since the midst of this pandemic happened. 136 people in ICUs, which is a new low. And the number of intubations are low to 62 people. And the number of fatalities on a 3-day average is low. Last Wednesday was 9 people. Last Thursday was 8 people. Last Friday was 7 people. Last Saturday was 4 people. And yesterday was 3 people. And the progress is better. And since our reopening since last month, well, basically since May 15th in the upstate area and the New York City area since 2 months ago, almost, we have seen significant drops. Stuff has been an uptick, but there hasn't been a massive increase of cases. We're the 4th largest. We went from the number 1 highest cases to the 4th largest cases. That's a big improvement. Versus California, Florida, and Texas. And I'm surprised at California because, like I said, the whole country followed the lead of California to shut down their states in order to social distance. So I'm very shocked with California. Florida and Texas, not too tough. No. Because they reopened before California did. It's just the fact that California has a larger population than the other 2 states, which Florida has 2 more million people than we do, and Texas is a big state too. But their governors did not issue no mask wearings. And some parts of California as well is very conservative too. Even though they have a Democratic governor, but they have also conservative areas in California. So I'm not shocked. He also criticized Donald Trump. He criticized my mayor a little bit, which, you know, he got to get up on these people when it comes to that. But he also said that parents should be comfortable sending their child to school. They shouldn't have to be told to send their child to school. And that's something that the Republicans are pushing for school reopening. And some of these states are actually going to reopen their schools. And some of them have really bad, high infection rates. But they're going to reopen their schools, which is dangerous. Kids are not immune. I mean, kids are immune to this. Donald Trump said kids are not immune. That's total BS, because kids are immune. There's over 75,000 kids sick with COVID and COVID-related complications called the Wasaki virus. I know 3 kids in New York that was in the last briefing of Andrew Cuomo before he stopped his actual daily briefings have died from COVID-related symptoms. So I'm assuming this man wants to, do his math and do his research. Also, he said the national situation is getting worse, and he basically ranted. He got upset. He said how to reset, because some medical experts want to reset. They want to do another national lockdown because mostly parts of the Southwest and the South are seeing high infection rates. And there's people that's traveling to the South and knowing good and damn well that there's very high infection rates. So he said the truth is it was a mistake to deny COVID and downplay COVID. It was a mistake to say it's the flu. It was a mistake to say it will be gone by Easter. It was a mistake to say it will magically disappear when it gets warm. It was a mistake to say I see the light at the end of the tunnel. It was a mistake to say that I will do testing, but I don't think we need it. Those were all mistakes. Those were all untruths. And they sent the wrong message to the American people. And that is true. The mistake is Donald Trump misleading the American people and lying to them. And people making it a political statement, making it think to not wear a mask. It's not that hard to wear a mask. I was getting my hair done. I had my mask on the whole time. I had it down to my nose a little bit sometimes just to get some air, but I kept it over my mouth. My hairstylist had her mask on. I haven't took my mask off at all. I kept rubbing my hands with hand sanitizer as I touched something in my bag. I would wipe my hands. It's not that hard to keep your goddamn mask on. Look at the people that work at the hospitals. They have to keep their mask on. Essential workers gotta keep their mask on. It's just that simple. It's not that hard. And then he just basically blasted all these other states, and he blasted them real good. And he said the truth is COVID is serious for all of us. It's not a Democratic and it's not a Republican issue. It's an American issue. And that is true. And it shouldn't have to be political. And he said if we don't tell the truth on reset, COVID will never end and will continue to ratchet across the country. And shame on the federal government. And it's true. Shame on the federal government for doing that. COVID is serious. And if we don't... Yep, I hate the mask. I understand, though, we have to wear it. It's hard to breathe. Exactly. It's hard to breathe. But we have to wear it, because if we don't wear it, we'll get sick. And COVID, just because you could survive COVID and your immune system is good to fight COVID, you will suffer from other complications. There's people that had COVID, but they have asthma now. They got other respiratory breathing issues. I heard someone was, because their COVID was so bad, they got to be at a nursing home. Just because you recovered doesn't mean those symptoms are gone, because they can easily resurface and come back. That's why they ask you to wear the damn mask. Not saying that to you, Latasha, but I'm just saying to people that keep rejecting the mask like the trashy as hillbillies and the stupid idiots. That's why it's important that we must follow the guidelines of our governors that are actually doing the work. Continue to wear your mask, continue to social distance, wash your hands, and be safe while doing the extracurricular activities that you do. It's just that simple. Enough on COVID, because I think I spent a little time on this. I'm not going to spend that much time left. In terms of the Veep stakes, I have been on anticipation. I've been on pins and needles. I've been like sitting here like this, praying every night that Joe Biden makes the right decision. Everybody keeps saying Elizabeth Warren. I have no issues with Elizabeth Warren. I don't. My concern of her being the VP is a couple things. One, will she draw turnout to the African American community? And not just the young community, the above 30 and over. And even some of the senior citizens. That she couldn't communicate to communicate her policies to African Americans on the whole. Not just ones under 30, but the ones over 30, over 40, over 50, and over 60. Because she had that problem in South Carolina. Second, the whole Native American scandal. That's a problem too, in itself. Because she believed all this time that she was Native American, and that's how she got into, Harvard, and then she took the DNA test because the Republicans pressured her to, and she's not Native American. That's another one. Also, the wealth tax. That will freak out not just Republicans, but Democrats alike who has companies. That will freak them out. Another is the rollout of her plans. How long will it take? Will it be effective right away? Because it's not all about the president's decision. You have Congress. You got to have the House of Representatives and the Senate on board. And we hope and we pray that we get senators on board. But every Democrat is not going to agree with what you do. Even though I think the policies are great. But I just worry about her, how she will help Joseph Biden govern. And do her and Joe Biden have a good relationship? Because their relationship was very turbulent while she was working in the Obama administration. And as the chair of the Consumer Protection Agency. So that's a whole nother thing. And then she not only criticized Joe Biden, which, like I said, I don't care for him, but she also criticized the former President Barack Obama. So those are things that has to be looked at. Susan Rice. I like Susan Rice too. Susan Rice is a career diplomat. She's not an elected official. So that's a strike against her. Another is Benghazi. She's been framed as Benghazi. The Benghazi for so long. And Republicans have branded her and Hillary Clinton. That's one of the reasons why Hillary Clinton didn't win, because she didn't reach the Midwestern white voter. It was the whole Benghazi thing and the Comey letter. Those things people looked at, which is sad. But Republicans have branded Hillary Clinton for that, and they're going to brand Susan Rice for that, and then the unmasking thing of Michael Flynn. Republicans already weaponizing and seizing on that shit too. So that's what's going on as well. So those are the things that are seriously going on. So we got to think about that. Val Demings, representative from Florida, Orlando, she's great. Do I think she'll be a Biden ally? They don't really have a relationship. I don't know if she really knows Joe Biden that well. She haven't done any events with the Biden campaign, because I usually get those alerts, and she hasn't done anything with the Biden campaign. She's great as a congresswoman, and she has a lot of leverage as a congresswoman, so keep her in Congress because she'll do a great job in Congress. Okay, Karen Bass, the chairwoman of the Congressional Black Caucus and also the representative of the Los Angeles area in California. I love her. I always liked her. I always liked her as a congresswoman. I'm glad that she's actually the chairwoman of the Congressional Black Caucus. I think she's almost better than Cedric Richmond. But a lot of our research had came out about her. A lot of things came out about her in terms of Scientology, which is not really a religion. So Republicans already weaponized on that. The Daily Caller, which is a conservative right-wing news outlet, already seized on that moment. Another is the whole Fidel Castro comments, how she praised Fidel Castro back in the 70s and how she sent her condolences to his death, which that freaked out both Republicans and Democrats alike, and also Floridian Democrats. Most of them are Cuban. So, like, some of them are Cuban, some of them are Republican Cubans or Democrat Cubans, and they're not happy, especially the disaffected Republicans. They're not happy about that. Not happy about that. So that's where we are. And then you got Kamala Harris, who was great. But because of an op-ed of a white woman who don't like Kamala Harris politics, has smeared her criminal justice record, which half of that article, when I did my research, was not true. When Tulsi Gabbard thought she did something great, 2 newspapers in Kamala Harris's hometown had to fact check Tulsi Gabbard. And AG never prosecuted. Even Andrew Cuomo, when he was the AG, and when now that Tish is the AG, never prosecuted marijuana cases. That's normally a DA's job. And she didn't even do it as a DA. And anything, incarceration rate has went down. But overall, who I think will be the great choice, if I had to name a top 3, even though I really want this person, I would really prefer Kamala Harris, because I did support her during the primaries. But if, say, hypothetically, she didn't get chosen, it will probably be, I would probably go with a Val Demings and then a Susan Rice. I wouldn't go for Elizabeth Warren nor Karen Bass, because Republicans have already weaponized mostly on that. Susan Rice is the third one. She's like in limbo. But Kamala Harris and Val Demings are good choices. But I really prefer Senator Harris, because Senator Harris can get that Obama coalition back to what we had. Not the white men, not the old white men, but the Obama coalition, because there's Asians that actually like her and Hispanic people that actually like her. Everybody keeps saying Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders and Biden are working together to get policy done for the woman that will be coming in this position. Bernie Sanders, shockingly, does not support Elizabeth Warren as the VP. And it's not mean, but it's the truth, because he said it on a PBS NewsHour. He does not support Elizabeth Warren's candidacy. And y'all can look at the video and it said why. And I'm shocked, because even though I was not for Bernie Sanders' politics, I respected what he does and what he do and how consistent he is. That much I do respect him for. And I respect him the fact that he bowed out, which I was shocked. But the fact that him and Biden are working together, that's how Democrats should be. Because we got a national emergency going on in this country. It's almost like a global threat. Donald Trump is a global threat to society and to democratic norms. We're isolated. We don't have no help from anybody. Oxford has a whole vaccine ready to go. And we could be like negotiating with them, but Donald Trump is so stupid He will rather cozy up with Russia. And Russia is having just as bad as a COVID problem as we are. They're almost at 1 million cases of COVID. They'll be the fourth largest. They're the fourth largest country with the most cases. So that's just my analysis on it. But as I conclude with this, and I'm glad people are tuning into my live, just be vigilant. Just be coherent to what's going on, but also to stay safe, to be safe. You can enjoy your life, but just keep in mind, you got to keep safe. You got to wash your hands. You got to keep a good distance. If you're going to be in a crowd, don't be in a crowd no more than 10 people. When it's a massive group of people, that causes a lot of, that causes a big COVID outbreak. And we might get a second wave of this thing, which I won't be shocked because it's like the Spanish flu. It comes in waves. Waves and waves and waves and waves and waves, right? It comes in like multiple waves. So I say this, be safe, be blessed. God is still in the midst of everything. Everything will work out for his good. For more, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel. It's my first name, Chantay Berry. Berry. My first name is Chantay, and you can look it up on YouTube, and you can subscribe to the channel. But till then, I'll see you tomorrow night at 10:45 or maybe 10:30, depending on the flyer. I gotta put out my flyer, so I will see you then. And good night, Joseph, and good night to all that watch. Good night, Natasha. Good night, Ebony, if you're still watching. Good night to everybody else, and Jamila, if you're still watching. Be safe.